So next, we're going to bring on a new guest. Very excited to have him. You may recognize him from his own LinkedIn lives and posts. Kevin Logan, how are you today?
I am doing well. I don't know how I'm gonna follow Foster here, but I'm
Right?
gonna speak out of this mouth and see what happens.
He's one of those guests that I think people are always like, why did you put me after him? Can't I go first? Come on. Like, really? Like, that's what I got to follow.
Yeah, you're not gonna get that dearth of experience here, guys, but I'll do my best.
But you got a lot of stuff to say, which is important.
Oh, I mean, I've always got stuff to say. Again, if you see my content, no problem moving this thing right
Yeah.
here. So,
Yeah. You're going to say something about something. 100%.
there you go.
So one thing that I want to touch on that Foster really stressed was that relationship building. And that's something that you do very, very well. So I've watched your content and I want to put this out there because this is something that I speak about on the show all the time, that it's not just what you message to people, but posting on their commenting on their posts, engaging with other people, that type of thing, really starting a conversation publicly, which, by the way, guys, also showcases you to employers because they can see all of that on your LinkedIn, believe it or not.
Absolutely.
So Kevin, talk to us a little bit about that and how that's helped you grow professionally.
It's so funny. I was literally, you must have heard my conversations. I was literally having this conversation earlier. And for job seekers, people that are not like me, that don't wake up and create content daily, your best content is the comments.
Say that again, just so they get it real good.
Your best content is your comment.
Yes.
So don't think about content if you see what I do. Think about content is just you putting your, I don't like the word, but your level of expertise, your authority in your industry out there for somebody to like, know, and trust. That's all I'm doing. It's all marketing. So all my content, all the creation is to like, know, and trust, to get a community to do that for me. And so that's the same for you. The reason why you are creating content, maybe you are, but the reason why you're more so and more likely commenting is to be visible. And not only to be visible, but to be effective, to put effective comments. Don't just put thanks for the share. I appreciate that if in whatever it is that you're commenting on, there's probably a point, a message. React to the message. If there's a question, answer the question. But make sure it's a deliberate and intentional way for you to expound on what's happening in this brain. And don't just put bland things. Really put your own authentic personality out there. If there's something different about you, don't be afraid to be different.
100%, 100%. Embrace it and run with that. I tell people that all the time. Yeah, just run as fast as you can. Because let me tell you, I got surprised when because I thought, professional forum, people don't want to know anything about you, that kind of thing. And that could not have been further from the truth. So I started diving in and I just said, I was like, okay, so here's who I am. I'm a bipolar business owner and I've done this, and this. I am. And this is how it helps me. And this is how it helps me. Like, my mania is my superpower. When I get that way, man, nobody can work like I can. I'm a beast. And I just owned it. And I had hundreds of people message me, connect with me, comments on that. It was amazing. It was beautiful. It was beautiful. I've had people since then tag me in all kinds of different things. I made relationships that turned into real business interactions, just being that vulnerable and talking about it. I talk about diversity in hiring a lot, and true diversity. So people think that only applies to race or gender, but it's ageism, it's sexual preference, it's neurodiversity. So people like myself, people with ADHD, people with autism, and talking about how important that is, because that's who I am and that's what matters to me. And from that, I get great connections and great business opportunities. So very much to your point, those comments, those little interactions go a long way. Really, really long way. And it helps recruiters and hiring persons to know who you are, right? Because that's the whole thing. They need to know who you are. And it really, really helps.
So just like you and Foster were just talking about, right? What did you guys say at the end of it? you will interview every single candidate that is intentional about reaching out to you. So if a
Yes.
candidate makes themselves known, me too, by the way, if a candidate makes themselves known to me, if they do the work that I don't have to do, you get in front of me and you give me all the information I need. Well, you just made my job easy.
Yeah.
So hell yeah, I'm picking up the phone and calling you.
100%.
Are you kidding me?
Made my life easy, and you put it out there, and you showed excitement. Oh, we're gonna talk.
Yeah.
We're going to talk. And even if you're not the right match for this, I will help you find, I will put you in contact. I will tag you in somebody else's post about a job and recommend you something.
And then to the second piece you guys were talking about, those comments, we're going to notice those too. So like Katherine was talking earlier, now I know exactly who I need for this role. I'm like, I know who, because you know what? We've been commenting, we've been communicating. I saw what your role is, and I understand what your expertise is, because we've been communicating, whether you didn't realize it or not. We have.
Right.
But
100%.
And that also goes to LinkedIn lurkers. One of the biggest things, things that people need to recognize is 99% of people do not engage on LinkedIn. I'm sorry, excuse me. It's now changed. 98% of people do not engage on LinkedIn. So there's 2% of people that do. Everybody else is lurking, and trust me, they are.
And they pay attention.
And they pay attention. I've gotten 5 jobs in the last 8 months of creating content on LinkedIn. And all 5, not a one of them had ever commented or liked the post. I was like, so my first question is like, how did you find me, and why do you want me? And they were like, oh, I've been following you for a long time. I was like, looking back, like, interesting.
Okay.
So so to that point, you never know. Not only do you never know, I guarantee you people are watching. People are paying attention. People are cataloging. 100%. I remember I'm paying attention. Whenever I see somebody, then I'm like, ooh, that was intriguing. That's in the back of my mind.
Yeah.
Now you're in the back of my mind.
I pulled a candidate off of one of your posts, actually, that I reached out to about a role. Yeah. And reached out, and it didn't quite work out, but we're still in contact. Might find something later. And I know people, the Who You Know Job Networking show, of which Foster is a member and a host. They've had people hired out of their comments.
Yeah,
they're saying intelligent things, and then got an interview and got hired. It happens. People always think I'm kidding about that. And I'm going, no. It happens in real life. I know multiple people this has happened to.
I mean, I don't say this in a way to make it seem like it's easy. That is not why I'm going to say what I'm going to say, but it's to say that you have to think outside the box and then use unique whatever is unique to you. However, whatever communication form is best for you. If it's video, double down on video. If it's voice, get on Clubhouse. If it's this, start doing like whatever it is, figure out what it is for you and then double down. So this week I saw that a young lady had posted about the dream company she wanted to work for. And she just posted about it. And she talked about all the reasons why she is the candidate they need. And then, they got in her comment section. And then within a week, she is in the job, started her job.
That's amazing.
Yesterday. So after a week, again, not to say everybody go post, no. But what you can tell is she took time. She was patient. She researched. She had put in the effort. She had already been creating content for a while. She had a great size audience. And I guarantee the reason why they found her is because those first, second, and third degree connections that were commenting on her posts, it improved her awareness.
Yes.
So now they knew that she existed. And then on top of that, then they could go back to her activity and they could go see what she's been doing.
Yep.
Which is what Kevin the recruiter does.
And they do.
Oh, please believe I do.
Yeah, they do. We all check you. Let me tell you, that is the first criminal background check that any candidate of mine gets. Social media. I'm going to check out your Facebook. I'm going to check out your Instagram. I'm going to check out your LinkedIn. I am going to stalk you a little bit. Here's why. Because it tells me more about you. And it helps me to understand you. And it also helps me to find red flags. For instance, if you show yourself and you're out with your friends, and I can tell you're probably at a bar, no problem. However, if your profile picture and then every single picture of you after that is you with a drink in your hands, now I'm a little worried. What? Ooh.
So that's I'll be honest. That's the place where I get a little nervous about social media, only because I know me and I know the way I use social media, and I rarely use it if it's not LinkedIn. So if you go to my Instagram right now, you might see a lot of half naked pictures of Kevin. And then you might Yeah.
Don't do that, folks. We're not saying go find Kevin.
No, I'm not. But what I'm saying is, but that doesn't in any way, shape, or form tell the story of Kevin, right?
Oh, no. And I do want to clarify. So stuff like, okay, so I live in a beach town, right? Obviously, you're going to have people around here in like bikinis and stuff.
There you go.
No worries there. That's not what. But for instance, I found a candidate who put their profile picture as out at a bar, and then about 3 pictures down had a picture of them holding a joint in a state where it's not legal, not in Colorado.
Probably not. You know.
Probably not too smart. And for me, that was the stupidity test.
There
it was
go.
the stupidity test. It was like, it's not so much what you're doing, it's that really, come on.
There has to be some maturity involved, and you have to have some agency and think for yourself.
Yeah. You need to think to yourself, I'm searching for a job. How should I be presenting myself? Also, on your LinkedIn picture, don't put weird stuff.
Yeah.
I've seen some guys that are shirtless that, and it's not like gym professionals. That's fine. Like if you work for a gym, fine, whatever. But they're shirtless in their LinkedIn profession, and they're in like sales or IT. And I'm going, okay, why?
Maybe it works. Because maybe they get sales.
Maybe, but I just want to put out there, it can be off-putting for a job, job search. I will still call you. I'm going to put that out there. I'll still call you because ultimately,
because I want to know why. I want to know. Is it working?
I called a girl not long ago, and like her LinkedIn picture was like, it was just boobs. Like, I'm just going to put that, like, it was just, that's all it was. It was like that South Park.
I've seen that.
It was like that South Park representation of Beth about the bounty hunter. Like it was like that. And I was like, you know what? And she's in sales. All right, let's have a conversation, lady. Maybe, you know what? Let's do it. And I forwarded her on, and I submitted her, not going to lie. But
look,
so it's not that kind of thing.
The Kardashians didn't teach you.
Right. That's it. 100%. It works. But I just want to say, but be whatever message you're trying to send, but those people, she was trying to send a particular message.
Yes.
Send whatever message you want. Make that it. Make sure that your LinkedIn profile sends the message that you want. I've seen people that have pictures of them with their kids. You know what? Some people say don't. If your family is that important to you and they're your number one priority, put it on out there. Why the heck not? You know, I mean, I would be careful doing that in a job search because it can make people think that you're going to be one of those people that calls in every 5 seconds for your kids. But if that's really your priority, speak who you are and just roll with it. The right company will be excited about it.
See, and I think those are, to be quite honest, Katherine, I hope and feel like those are the kind of, and I feel like that's a misnomer that I think are getting put down a lot more lately.
Yeah.
And
it's true.
Yeah, if you go on LinkedIn, you're going to see my son, Julius. And that's because he's here with me right now, all day, every day. And that's my life.
Yep.
And, and you know, with the last 6 months for anybody out there that does, in fact, decide to create content or start commenting, what you find over time, guys, is you find your voice. If you haven't ever engaged in just putting your thoughts out there, it's, you know, so before I was able to do this, a lot of what I did was seek validation through creating content and commenting and just putting my own thoughts and my authentic self out there. I've come to find out who Kevin was. And then you find your voice, and then you can start to do things differently in your own way. And so I personally am at a place where I'm going to put whatever I put out there, and it's going to attract my tribe. And anybody else who doesn't care, I don't care either.
Oh, well.
They didn't want to work with you anyways.
I had somebody recently tell me it shouldn't matter, or you shouldn't put something out that's so strong about the importance of hiring minorities and all this. I said, why? I don't want to do business with those other people.
Yeah,
I don't want to have them as clients. I don't want to have them as candidates. They can get away from me. And the same thing is true for family. So I want to put this out there. So I brought that up. It is something to consider. However, I think it's really beautiful that especially during COVID, we've come to embrace family life even more. I think that's one of the perks that kind of came out of COVID. You know, there's always a silver lining.
Yes.
And people have gotten a lot more human about these kind of things, and that you might have kids like run through a screen. Now I do tell people like that have kids that come on the show. I'm like, look here, if your kid joins the show, I'm gonna start talking to them. Okay, they're gonna have to say some stuff on screen. I'm just gonna warn you right now. They're welcome, but they're gonna have to talk.
Entertainment purposes.
Just for entertainment purposes, we're gonna have to talk to this kid. But so you have to embrace it. You have to embrace the humanity. I've had my cat just walk across the screen like mid presentation, and I'm like, well, there you go. That was my cat. That was Livy. Glad you got to meet her. That's it. And I like that people are embracing this. And one thing I want to address that I'm sure you have very strong opinions about is I'm tired of the discrimination against parents in the hiring process.
Oh, yes.
It's irritating to me. Now, I will say this. During your interview, I think it's perfectly fine to mention your kids. I think that's, they're part of your life. Definitely, when you get to the get to know you stage, definitely talk about them. Don't bring them up every time you're asked a question, though. That's a little weird. Don't do that. Keep focused on what you're actually supposed to be talking about. But I like seeing things like, companies having pumping rooms for women or nursing rooms for mothers. Yes. I like seeing dads getting time off. Dad's getting paternity leave. Dad's getting my dad was my stay-at-home parent.
I need paternity leave, guys, right now. I need more of it. Right? No. Oh my gosh, I could harp on this.
Seriously. Dads want to be part of things too. What this whole idea that is just the woman. Like I said, my dad was my stay-at-home parent. So I've been conscious of this since I was a little child.
There you go.
And my mom was phenomenal. And I've talked about her a dozen times on this show too.
I'm the cleaner.
Oh yeah.
I do it.
Yeah.
It's 2021, guys.
Yeah, come on. Except that everybody's going to help out. Okay, that's just how it is.
No, but to that point, that's what the pandemic did was it gave us a shared pain point. Mm-hmm. Everyone dealing with the same thing at once. And guess what? You couldn't do? Run away. You couldn't find out a babysitter. You couldn't put money to it and just richly put it away. No, rich people, you had to deal with it too. So here's what happened. I used to work at Amazon, and one day a week I would have my son with me, and I would get on these calls, and I would hear it. I'd hear it from people like, I'd be like, oh, so I have my son, and they'd be like, that's okay. But I'd hear the, okay, cool. Mm-hmm. In the last 8 months, I'm on call. So I do VP and director searches for some pretty big people, and I talk to some people that we know are in the news. And when I start I start every conversation the same way, I have a little gregarious, crazy person that's more than likely going to enter our conversation. I'm letting you know this because it's going to happen. And not one person has flinched. And if you do, that tells me a hell of a lot about you, and you're not the candidate for me anyway. So
100%.
And here's why. Because we are people, and we always have been. And I guess what the pandemic's shown you is that what we do is, when we get to the office, we don't just turn off the rest of our life. We have to come to the office with our whole selves. That means our families. And so if my son is sick, there are reasons, people, and there are excuses. But reasons matter for the record.
They do.
And when you have a family, there are a lot of reasons why you have to do other things.
Yes.
And you, the VP, the president, the CEO, the whatever, because you can throw money or do other things or have other options, you don't have to deal with it as much as folks that don't have that option.
Right.
Is what I want to say.
Right. Well, and just that, and I just, and I just want to say too, that it's not just about, do you have, although to your point, the money thing is a problem and people do tend to forget, not everybody has the money.
Yes.
But what about the people that just want to be with their kid?
Thank you. And I love my son, for the record.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Side note, so I had an experience where I had a whole recruiting team that I was responsible for. And one day the school shut down. I forget, some completely random, nobody was expecting it. And it was going to be the next day. And everybody's like, oh shit, what are we going to do? We're all going to have our kids. And I go, bring them.
Right.
And they were like, what? And I said, yeah, bring them on in. Let's do this. Yeah. So we set up like a little play area for them. They had little coloring stations. But what was really funny was how a lot of them started taking interest in what their parents were doing. Yep. One of the little girls goes, Mommy, I didn't know you help people find jobs. That's so cool. And was so excited. Another one came and sat with me. I've actually talked about him a lot on the show. His name's AJ. My friend and former employee is Sharika, her son. 5 years old, came and sat down and started learning how to manage people and learning how to do reports. This little 5-year-old child.
I believe it.
I actually left him in charge of my staff once. This little 5-year-old boy, called me up and gave me a full-on report of everything everyone was doing, how he corrected them.
I guarantee he did.
He did. And then he did try to fire my best guy, though. So I had to make him hire him back. But
okay.
but it was great. And it was just, but these
when
kids,
you know what you're doing.
Yeah. I mean, and it was hilarious. And it was great energy. It made everybody happy.
Do you know why? And you know why that's beautiful that you just brought that up in the context of what we're talking about? Because kids don't know any better. Because they haven't been given rules. They haven't been put inside a box. They haven't been told to stop being curious. They haven't been told to stop jumping off the couch. They haven't been told to stop doing these things, right? Because when you get to adults, you get these things banged out of you. And now you're scared to do things. You're scared to bring your child to work.
They just put it out there.
That's right.
Put it out there.
So, and it was, I've learned so much from watching this little person.
Oh yeah. Yeah, they're amazing. And it was so much fun. So I like that we're moving to, and not that you want to have kids in the workplace necessarily every single day, ever.
Oh, of course not.
But I do want to, I like to encourage companies to have a bring your kids to work day frequently, like once a month.
Once a month.
Have them come in there and hang out and see what comes of it. We actually came up with some creative ideas from the kids, things that the kids said and did. We were going, oh, you know what? That makes me think of this. Let's try this on this and let's do this. One of them acted as our little receptionist when our receptionist had to go to the restroom. And she was 10 and she sat there with her little papers and everything and welcomed them and brought them coffee and all. It was so cute. And it's a really cool experience. And it does bring a certain energy. And for job seekers, look for companies that think of things like this or even suggest it. Go, if you're interviewing with the right kind of company, suggest benefits to them. Go, hey, have you thought of having a pet friendly workplace? Have you thought of having a bring your kid to work day or paternity benefits, not just maternity benefits?
You know what's funny to that point right there? What's changed so much for me in the last year is when I ask about those benefits, I'm not gonna lie, and I try not to. But when I used to ask, it honestly, when I used to work at these tech companies, when I worked at Amazon, I wanted to know about the ping pong table. I wanted to know about these other things. And now I'm like, how cool would it be instead of investing in the ping pong and the gaming and all this, if you invested in buying that lunch for all the kids that you do have? How about investing in community? How cool would it be to build a community of your organization versus this is a place that's cool to be, so stay here for 15 hours a day.
Right. 100%. And I while I do appreciate the Google culture, as they call it, with all the, I do think that's great. And I like to have a very laid back, I've had employees that sat on the yoga balls instead of chairs, things like that. I'm very open to that. Plus it helps everybody be more comfortable at work and be more satisfied at work to express their individuality, to take care of their own needs.
Yep.
And you do want to encourage people to get up and move.
Yes.
So I like things that encourage that as well. However, you're right. Candidates, as you're going through to cut through the BS, ask about the real benefits.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, yeah, great. You can do this and that, but what are the real benefits that you have for me? Do you encourage PTO or do you just have it there, but I'm not really supposed to use it or else I'm going to get a dirty look from you?
Yes.
Because that's a big one. People will have PTO, but then tell you don't use it. It's like, what? But then why do we have it? Like, if I'm supposed to use it, why is it sitting there? That makes zero sense.
Yes.
0 sense. So
I love that.
Ask guys, go, what's the real situation here with the PTO?
Everything honestly is a negotiation. I don't know if you know this. Like I mean this. I have had somebody negotiate down to the water that they would be receiving. I'm not kidding you. Okay.
Oh, I know. I've had that too.
That's because he knows everything's a negotiation. And he's like, you know what? If I'm gonna be, think about this, y'all. I'm gonna take this out. Think about this, y'all. Okay. You're gonna spend 8 to 10, maybe 12, 14 hours a day at this place. Okay. they better think of a creative way to utilize your time. They better think of a creative way to describe what you're going to be doing in that job description.
Yep.
They better think of a creative way to keep you engaged. They better think, you know, like, and then, but then also you can think of a creative way for them to do that. And then you can tell them how you would like it.
100%, 100%. And another big one too, along the same subject, is don't let people trick you into taking a job that is micromanaging on the DL, because a lot of companies say they don't want to micromanage, and what they mean is they don't want to have to tell you every, talk to you every 5 seconds. That's what they mean.
But they have a tracker for your tracker.
Yes, but they're secretly tracking you and all that kind of nonsense. So when you go into an interview, stop and go, hey, how is the day-to-day management handled? Day-to-day, what is my interaction going to be like with my supervisor? And are these kinds of things tracked? For instance, as a recruiting manager, I've heard all this nonsense about, oh, you need to make this many calls, you need to send this many emails, this many LinkedIn connections.
Activity.
Do you know what I tell people? Fill your positions in a timely manner. The end. I don't care if you work 2 hours a day. Could not care less. You're gonna get paid the same, because it doesn't matter to me. I don't care.
Can you get in a plane and can you put that on the back of a thing and then go around the country and just
I know, just put on a rocket, like shoot it around and just go, come on.
God.
Come on.
There are days when I am just really efficient. And I get my 5 candidates that I know are 200% qualified. Mm-hmm. Now it's up to you to not mess this up. Here you go.
Well, right. Yeah. Yeah. And I will say sometimes I'm like with my clients, I'm like, how did you mess this up? They were so perfect. What's wrong with you? And guys, as a recruiter, please bear with us. We do have to deal with our clients too. And sometimes,
of course,
that's not so easy. Just remember, we're right there. We're right there. We're your advocates. So as we wrap up, what is your final piece of wisdom to candidates that are out there searching, struggling in this insane market right now? The market really is the craziest I've seen it since I started recruiting. What's your advice to everybody?
Yeah. So, everything is noise. Everything is noise. Everybody's getting noise. There's noise from everywhere right now. Mm-hmm. And you have to figure out a way to break through that noise. And you have to figure out a way to get a direct line of communication to the people you need to speak with. Yeah. To be brutally honest with you guys, applying for jobs is not going to do that. It's going to be a time suck, a big one. Now, if you're one of these people that's at one of these big schools and you've had these big names on your resume and you know how to do some keyword things, okay. But if you're not, there's like 85 target schools that these big name companies will look at and they'll put their ATS. So if you're not, then you need to do things differently. Engage. You've got to do research. This is going to take intentionality from you. This is going to mean that you need to figure out what jobs, what companies, and who it is that you need to be in front of, and then find them on LinkedIn and engage. And if they don't create content, find people in their network that does create content that they react to, because oftentimes people don't create content, but they like other posts. Find the posts that they're liking and then comment on those people's posts, and then they'll see your comment on those people's posts. Engage. Get creative and engage.
And I will throw out a couple more tips on that note real quick before we wrap up. Is number one, I had a candidate years ago who did this, and it was freaking genius. Sent out e-cards. Like, we have Mother's Day coming up, for instance. Sent out Mother's Day e-cards to like the top 7 people he wanted to interview with, top 7 companies. And it was just a beautiful e-card. At the very end, he just signed it, "Your candidate hopeful," with his name. Got 4 interviews out of that.
Absolutely.
4, because it was creative. It was engaging. Called up and got that email address and just did it. The other thing that I want to say, guys, is he's absolutely right. When you target the companies that feed your passion, that feed your soul, that feed your mission, you will be more successful. Every single time in my job search when I was younger that I did that, it worked. It worked for me. And it's the same thing even for me getting clients nowadays. The concept just works. When you're fired up, when you're excited, it will spill out and they can't help but hire you. It's just true.
I talked about this yesterday, and real quick, most things with job seekers, y'all, it's not tool set. I guarantee you have the tool set. I talked about this yesterday. You do. Yep. And the reason is because if you're applying, why the hell are you applying for a job you're not qualified for? You're not. So you're qualified.
Hopefully. Okay. It does happen.
I mean, it does, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know,
You got the meat and potatoes. You
That's
got the
right.
meat and potatoes.
So that means all you're missing out is the confidence. So when you press apply, you had better be confident. And if you are not confident when you press apply, I personally would not press apply, because that's just a waste of time, because you've already lost
And why
and you're
waste your
not
time?
qualified. So
100%.
have confidence in your abilities. Know that you can do it, and you can, because you can.
You can do it. All right, guys, that was a wonderful way to end the show. I want to thank you so very, very much for coming on. Everybody, please connect and follow Kevin. I dropped his link down in the comments. Is there any other way that you, or anything you want to promote real quick? Any way else you want them to reach out to you?
The only thing is, on Fridays at 1 p.m. Pacific time, we have our anti-value show. It is no value. We just try to give you some laughs. We're called the Snark Squad. It's myself, Chelsea Robertson, and Jennifer Brick. We really just try to wrap up our Fridays, have some fun and laughs, and that's all.
I like that. That's a good, you know what? I like that. That's a cool way to end your week. That's really great. All right, guys. Thank you so very much.
Thank you so much,
See you next week.
Thank you, everybody.
Take it easy.